Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your Five Fave Fives video. I believe this is our 20th, by the way, our 20th ever, or 23rd, it's the 23rd, Five Fave Fives. We will be covering everything from the Royal Rumble basically until post WrestleMania, basically, including WrestleMania, but nothing after because nothing has happened after WrestleMania yet. We still haven't gotten to the post-Mania Raw. Could be the most interesting post-Mania Raw in years if some returns slash debuts happen that we might be expecting. We'll see. That being said, though, John, we do have five Fave Fives to talk about over the course of the last 2 months. This is basically all of February and March plus WrestleMania and, all of the other shows that happened on Friday and Saturday that I guess were technically part of April.
Yes. This is my favorite commentary that we do. I really felt eager to get my list done. I've had it done in the last few days. Couldn't wait to unveil it with you guys. I've done some tinkering here and there. Even this morning, I was like, oh, I actually forgot about so-and-so in one particular company, and I slotted them into my list. And I also want to say for my list, I threw out a lot of my established conventions. I know for the last couple of 5A5s, I've been like, oh, I'm going to keep my honorable mentions to 5 to really treat it as if it was a backup roster. That went away, both because of my hatred of some wrestling and my absolute love of some others. So this is one of the more unique lists I've made. I'm quite happy about it, and I'm really excited to share it with you guys.
Yeah, I basically same, but less so. Like I do still have 5 honorable mentions in 3 of my 5 Fave Fives, but I have less than 5 in one and more than 5 in another. So
Yes.
Javara said that he's just here to continue to laugh at Tamantha getting her shit ran.
Oh, believe me, there's going to be quite a bit of Stardom talk today, I am sure, with these
Yes.
lists. I'm always more curious about Ashton's list, guys. I'm sure he's always curious about mine because I just love how his mind works. Pretty confident who number one in Stardom is going to be, but
Yeah.
to throw a curveball every now and again. So
There's no curveball for number 1 for me in Stardom. It's
yeah,
exactly who you think it is. But
yes, it's like no, you know me, and that's that.
yeah, but that being said, though, do we want to get into our WWE Fave 5?
Absolutely. And brother, I am in such a great mood because I've had a wonderful 24 hours going into, today. I will start us off if you don't mind
Ooh,
with
go, go, go.
fives. All right. Now, I did keep it to 5 honorable mentions for this one, but this WWE is the only one where I kept it to 5 because my whole rule of thumb now with 5A5 is keep it honest. Who did you really like in this grading period? Who did you really think about? Who did you seek out? So this is my 5. Number 5, Chad Gable. WrestleMania tag match clinched him that spot. I still can't believe he did a chaos.
This is your number 5 honorable mention?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
4, Sheamus. Really been liking his work lately. Thought he killed it in the triple threat last night. 3, Sami Zayn. Enough said. 2, Bianca Belair. Enough said. Number 1, so freaking close. Gunther.
Oh my god, dude. I can already tell you that 2 of your honorable mentions are in my Fave 5, including one of them being my number 1.
You know what? That's totally fair. And I will say this. I am an eccentric. And I only say that because when you guys actually see who did make my list, you're going to be like, wait, them over Gunther? What the different strokes, people. Different strokes.
No, dude, you
So
got to
who
remember though, this is the grading period for this includes everything since the Royal Rumble.
Yes.
Just let that like register and okay, like who could be Ashton's number 1 given that. But my honorable mentions, again, going basically from what is effectively 10 to 6 in what would effectively be my top 10. Seth Rollins, Bianca Belair, Damage Control, Rick Boogs, Asuka.
Nice. All right. Let's see. Number 5 here. Okay, gonna rip the Band-Aid off. Dominic Mysterio. I enjoy the work. I enjoy the fucking goofiness and the prison and the fucking TikTok and everything. I can't help it, Like I said, different strokes. People will see that I put this guy in the actual Fave 5 over Gunther, who has been a tank. I will not take anything away from that dude.
Hey, you know what though? To be fair, Gunther's Royal Rumble performance is not included in this grading period, so.
Bro, I don't even know if it has to be. That dude is compelling fucking TV.
I
Just
feel like
think
if
of the
it
guy he
was
is.
though, you might have had him ranked over Dom.
Maybe. But I don't know. I'm living for this dude. And to be quite honest, I thought he worked that match at Mania with Ray quite well. I enjoyed it. One of my more favorable matches across the weekend, personally. And I don't know what comes for him after, because obviously my prediction blew up in my face, as most do, except Roman Reigns retaining. Fuck yeah. But yeah, Dom comes in at number 5. So who is your number 5?
Oddly enough, and coincidentally enough, my number 5 is motherfucking Gunther.
Preach his excellence, King. Go off.
I actually had him higher in my last Fave 5, which makes sense because it was fresh off of the Royal Rumble. But still, the performance at Mania really won me over, and just his performances in general. You said it best. This motherfucker's a tank. He is a machine. He is a beast. He is really, I think, sort of the next coming of Brock Lesnar in WWE, in the sense that like you can have him be this like super credible monster that can beat literally anyone. I mean, hell, he beat Sheamus and Drew McIntyre in the same match last night, and not even in like a Chris Jericho, I'm gonna spend the rest of my career bragging about this kind of way, but just like a another day at the office kind of way. That's just the kind of motherfucker that Gunther is.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's great at what he does, and what he does is put on amazing matches and be intimidating as fuck and a freak, and I enjoy the hell out of his work. I tune in and I pay attention whenever he's on my TV, pretty much.
I am all in on the world champion Gunther 2023 agenda.
Yep.
This dude is unfreaking stoppable. All right. Keeping it right along. Number 4, Jey Uso.
Same.
Um, Character work has been amazing. No disrespect to Jimmy, because he's upheld his part of the bargain. And I even said during night 1 live reactions, I'm actually really proud of Jimmy personally, because we know he struggled with stuff in the past, and he's been able to really keep that in check for the greater good of this storyline and just his own flourishing in his career. But Jay has always had it on
I
lock.
can't believe we both had Jay at 4. That's crazy.
That's wild to me. I did not expect that at all. But yeah, man, Jay's fantastic. And honestly, the more people are like, he should be the one to beat Roman after every Roman title defense, including last night at WrestleMania. I'm sorry, I just can't get over it. I'm so fucking giddy. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I can buy it more and more the longer Roman Reigns survives and the more Jey Uso is conflicted.
Yeah.
I think his character work has been astounding, and I keep emphasizing that because his in ring is solid, especially when he gets to be main event Jey Uso. But I've even said I'm at an age now in my fandom where I'm more character work is more resonant with me. I gravitate more to that. And Jay is definitely scratching that itch. So since we both had him in the same spot, my friend, what would you like to say about Jey Uso?
Yeah, I think that if you ignore the performers completely and pretend like the Usos are literally just twins and they're the exact same person as human beings, even though they're obviously not. And I know they are twins, but that's not what I mean, and I think most people realize that. Um, I still think that the Jey Uso character is significantly more interesting than the Jimmy Uso character right now. Because I think that the Jimmy Uso character is very sort of shallow, very sort of skin deep, very hollow in a way. Very much like, okay, well, I really want to just be with my brother, so whatever it takes to be tag partners with my brother, I'm going to do it, even if it means basically being Roman's lackey or going along to get along with this new Sami Zayn dude that I really don't give a shit about, or turning on this Sami Zayn dude who just betrayed Roman because obviously it's going to make me look better for Roman and it's going to make Roman not angry at me or whatever. Like all that stuff. Like Jimmy is very much like a two-dimensional, maybe even a one-dimensional character. Jey Uso is three-dimensional. And I love the character work and I love just the character in general. And the performer you can even see the difference in the physique between Jimmy and Jey Uso. Jey Uso has been busting his ass as far as staying in great shape. He literally took his fucking shirt off at WrestleMania, which is the first time either one of the Usos has taken their shirt off in years at this point. He's in great shape. He's busting his ass in the gym to make sure that he looks like main event Jey Uso and doesn't just have that label slapped on him for no reason. or for storyline reasons. And I am firmly behind the idea that he should 100% be the one to dethrone Roman for the Undisputed Championship, for sure.
And I think you said that so beautifully, friend. I ain't even gonna try and add on to that. Number 3 for me, Asuka.
Nice.
Um,
So I,
you
I,
know,
I had her in my honorable mentions. She's on your Fave 5. That's awesome.
I want to say this about Asuka. Just because I was really thinking about her last night, maybe because her loss affected me too, albeit in a different way than Javara's. Because, like him, I'm not saying he doesn't like Bianca. He said that he does. But the more I'm just like, yeah, maybe Asuka just wants to put him over.
Dude,
Maybe
I
that's
think we're
safe
all
for her
kind of in a
career.
similar place with Bianca, where we all really like her, but we all just want something more interesting for her.
Yeah, I by no means have turned on her. I don't think anybody's turned on
Yeah.
her. It's just, yeah, it's like, let's see something else, and preferably not Charlotte. I think that's even the worst part, honestly. It's not even so much her. It's like, oh god, are they doing all this for you just so Charlotte can come in and win? Because ever since you put that out there, I'm like, yeah, they're doing it. But to keep the focus on Asuka, I will say this woman. I was thinking about her a lot last night. I'm thinking, Asuka really is just this incredible talent. I'm not even talking about a wrestler. Like, I feel like I'm going to struggle here to grasp what I want to say. I feel like she's so significant for women's wrestling. When we learned about the manifesto that she did from, I believe Kirby was the one that imparted that information.
Yeah.
Um, and then looking what she did in NXT and now WWE and putting these women over, because now in back-to-back, I mean, she put over Rhea last year, which that title reign really didn't stake, but I wouldn't put that on Asuka at all. That's like totally out of her control. And now she further put over Bianca as like, yeah, this is her era right now. Look at all these greats she's defeating. This woman was a legend. I still agree to this day with friends that I had that said she had a Hall of Fame career just from her NXT run alone. And then all of this is just gravy. And like, what delicious gravy it is. She's fantastic. She goes in the ring at a great pace. I thought her match with Bianca was exceptional. And for me, obviously, because I like both women in the match, I did prefer it to Rhea and Charlotte of the women's matches this weekend, or at least the women's championship matches this weekend. I think for being a non-English speaker, her promos are incredible because she understands there's more than one way to cut a promo, that you can use your whole environment and your body and your facial expressions. This woman's on another level. And it's funny because when we were live reacting, I made the point, because we do like the play by play and we do like to bring our A game to it, that we don't know how many WrestleManias Asuka has left. And you mentioned that she's in her 40s, and I just think like we should really appreciate her while we have her,
Mm-hmm.
not just in the sense of asking she be pushed or win championships, because Asuka as a mother and as somebody that's been here forever doesn't really care about that. She knows what the true nature of the business is about. She understands the assignment, as the saying goes. I just mean in the sense of thank you for being here. Thank you for caring about this industry and wanting to make the culture healthier and putting people over and just being the person you are. She's a gem. If every locker room had an Asuka, women's wrestling would be in a much better state on the whole. And I think it has been in a better state because she happened to it. So Asuka, easy number 3 for me.
Nice. This is where we might start to get into some potentially controversial territory for me.
Yeah.
Number 3 for me,
Yeah.
Roman Reigns.
Ain't no controversy about it, my friend. I acknowledge our tribal chief. God damn.
That's just what I mean, though. Is like it's just so rare for either one of us to have sort of a Super Cena type character or like a the face of the company type character in our Fave Fives, because I do feel like our Fave Fives is more meant to be about like what sort of niche performers we feel like we enjoy more than most people. But at this point, I feel like I fall in that fucking camp with Roman. I love this dude. He is excellent. He is low key, maybe even a once in a lifetime level performer as a heel, specifically as a heel. I think we can all agree he wasn't a great baby face. He wasn't even really that good of a baby face, much less great. But as a heel, and we've seen this going all the way back to when he was in NXT when he was a heel. He is on another fucking level. I mean, we talk about God mode as far as in kayfabe, he's in God mode in the ring, but like as a character actor, he is in God mode.
Bro, first of all, you said everything perfectly, so I don't want to talk too much, but he ate at that press conference, bro. Like, I saw the clips that he had, and I'm like,
Dude, when he was
dude,
approaching the mic, and he was like, "Seen a lot of shocked faces in here, a lot of surprised faces. Must feel real stupid, don't you?" It's like, holy shit, this dude talks shit constantly. He talks shit almost as much as freshly out of NXT Kevin Owens talked shit.
dude. And the thing is, while I love Kevin Owens as a shit talker, what I love about Roman, this is gonna sound so weird, but just hang with me, guys. I always find it cringe when ESPN or like any of those outlets talk about pro wrestling super seriously. Like, oh, what do you think about the chances of Bianca beating Charlotte? It's like, I don't know, it just never translates well to me when they try and do it. Why I say that though is Roman has this air about him, especially when he talks in these press conferences. He feels like a professional athlete that knows how good he is. And I love that. He's like, yeah, everybody eating right now, that's because of me. Buy rates being as high, me. Just
Dude, I
he
actually saw
knows it.
somebody on a message on a wrestling board the other day. It might have even been as recently as last night, just because it would have been like after he beat Cody, which, God, that
Yeah,
feels so good to say. Um, I actually saw somebody saying that we are nearing territory level heat with Roman, and that people are
yeah,
starting to get worried that he's going to get stabbed or something by a fan. And I'm like,
dude.
that's like that, maybe we are closing in on that level of territory, but if we are, that's not a bad thing. That's a fucking incredible feat in today's age.
Well, I mean, dude, think about and God, there's a whole discussion we can have just from you having Roman in your list, but I want to keep it on Roman because I was even going to say I do wonder what this means for Cody too, because are fans still going to care about the chase, or has Roman bought us enough time that fans will turn on him by beating him at Mania, and then we're going to have to find a new one, and then is Roman just going to crush that guy? Like he's on another level, and honestly, I think you and me and a lot of people knew we could get there as a heel
Yeah.
because I even like the early NXT stuff. But this, again, can't even comprehend this. I
This
mean,
is like
goddamn.
the NXT stuff with the volume turned up to a 12.
Yes, dude, there was a segment in that same press conference where Paul Heyman is listing everybody that Roman Reigns has beat. And Roman just looks at him. And by the way, Heyman was looking at Roman like a proud father the whole freaking time.
Yeah.
He's like, my God, we are making money right now. And Roman's just like, oh, thank you. Because I've been champion so long, I've forgotten about some of the people that I've beaten. And he's like, I'm begging somebody to take the ball from us because we're just going to keep running this game until somebody does. And that makes me think, could Roman, because at this point, when he beats a guy like Cody, which we heard from everybody, right? Oh, it can't be Sammy because it has to be Cody. But then it wasn't Cody. Could Roman be champion long enough for a Braun Breaker to step up? Could Roman be champion long enough for so and so, maybe somebody we're not even thinking of yet, to step up? Like, the Reign has entered that territory. I mean, 3 straight WrestleManias, dude. Yeah, no, that's not controversial at all. If any top guy deserves the kind of recognition that you've given him on your list, it's Roman motherfucking Reigns.
Yes.
Period.
Now, who is your number two?
My number two, it's funny because given all the praise I gave to Asuka, she is not my highest rated woman on this list. That is Rhea Ripley.
Oh my God, we have another one in common. Rhea's my number two as well.
She was the best part of her match with Charlotte. Just 100%. Um,
Oh
I
my God,
love
dude,
how
my mom had Rhea Ripley at number two on her list too. Holy shit.
the synergy. I mean, a Grand Slam champion at only
God,
26
I know that
years
Roman said
old.
it. I know that Roman said it as an insult, but it seems like Rhea Ripley is everybody's favorite number two right now.
Yeah, I guess so. Um, no, dude, she's fantastic. You already know that. I think her run is going to be incredible. I hope. And yeah, I think the sky's the limit for her. It's funny. I keep talking about because it's funny. Like Rhea was involved last year when she beat Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. When I was talking about Asuka, that reign didn't feel like her coronation the way that this did. This
Yes.
this felt different. This really felt
Because
different.
she
Like
beat Charlotte fucking Flair rather than Asuka, who just doesn't win at WrestleMania regardless.
exactly. And, doing that and the pyro and everything else and how she was at the press conference, it really feels like they're positioning Rhea as the woman now. And that's a very interesting era for WWE to
I
have.
would
I think
not
she can
complain
carry.
if Rhea went on a Super Cena level, Bianca level run.
I wouldn't either. I wouldn't either because, like Bianca, she has the wrestling talent to do it.
Yep.
And not just in the ring either. I like her as a personality. And I think the feuds that she can have from women currently in the locker room and women yet to be in the locker room, if she goes on long enough on that Super Cena level run that you spoke of, that, we wouldn't even have to file in some new talent, say from NXT. Yeah, I really think she's capable of so much. I think so much of her career has been leading up to this, and to see it finally happen just feels great. But we both shared her at number 2. So what would you like to say about Rhea Ripley?
I think probably the best overall talent in the women's division. Um, in WWE's women's division specifically, obviously. Um, obviously, I would put Io at number one as far as in ring goes, but she's not that great at English. There are other better talkers than Rhea, but I think that Rhea edges them out in other categories, like maybe in ring, maybe athleticism, maybe look, maybe just sheer charisma and presence. I think that Rhea is the total package. I think that there just isn't really a weakness in her game. I think that her weakest element is probably promos, but even that she's gotten pretty good at. And even then, she doesn't really even need to cut a promo because of how dominating and magnetic her presence is. But yeah, I just think she's great. I think she is incredibly talented. I think they definitely have a really easy horse to back here in her. And I am very excited to see who some of her opponents end up being in this title reign. And I hope it doesn't end anytime soon. I hope that she gets to hold the title for, preferably through the end of 2023, if not at least till WrestleMania 40.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. All right, number 1 for me, keep it succinct, Kevin Owens. You guys know I fucking rock with this dude always. Happy for him that he's a tag team champion. We'll be even happier for him when he gets back on a singles focus, even though that might come at the expense of him not being a face anymore, which I greatly, greatly prefer. He's wonderful. I really can't say enough. So who is your number 1?
Sami Zayn.
Amazing. Amazing. um, so how do you make your number 1? Talk about it.
Elimination Chamber happened in this grading period.
Yeah.
I mean, like, come on, like
Yeah.
the that alone, I feel like would be enough for him to be number one. But like his work has just been second to maybe only Roman.
Yeah.
As far
I
as the actual work that he's putting in, his charisma, his natural charm, it's unparalleled. He is the perfect baby face to Roman's perfect heel.
That's why I'm saying, man, even I said, for as much of a Kevin Owens fan as I am, because Five Fave Fives is, first and foremost, a fandom list. Even I could see the money for what it is. If you don't do Sammy Roman 2 in fucking Philadelphia at Mania 40,
Bro,
I
if
just feel
that
like it's
match
gonna
main
end.
events that show, we might not be able to live react to it because I might have to get on a fucking train and go there and see it live.
I would not fucking blame you, my guy. I would just be in the Discord chatting with the fucking peeps, and we'd be all fucking watching it, expecting like hopefully Sammy to be the fucking one. Like, no, I'm sorry. I still feel like if you're not gonna do it with Jey Uso, which again I said I'm cool with Jey Uso, but I still think Sammy is 1,000% still on the fucking table. This dude is in a very special moment right now, and unlike Cody, I don't think he's gonna lose it because I can already see, even though I know it's probably gonna cause size for a lot of people and even a little bit myself, I could see Sammy and Kevin losing those tag titles in the not too distant future. Kevin potentially turning heel again, them doing that feud. Maybe Sammy wins the Rumble next year or Money in the Bank. I actually like Rumble better for him, especially if he was a true underdog, unlike Cody. You can keep the fire going is essentially my point. And yeah, like you've compared him many times on the last several live reactions to Mick Foley and drawn the parallels there. Absolutely, he's this generation's Mick Foley, 100%, a
He
hundred percent.
really is. And the thing about Mick Foley is he's a former multiple time world champion.
Yeah, And the thing is, bro, like we talk about crowd reactions and where they're getting with Roman. If contrast that, if you keep building Roman up like this, with Sammy of all people being the one to finally beat him, that crowd would want to hop the barricade just to hug tackle the fucking dude.
Yeah.
Like it would be such an outpouring of love. It'd be very similar to me to when Eddie won the title. Because when Eddie jumped into the crowd, like all those fans at him and they were hugging him and they were celebrating. It'd be the same thing with Sammy. 100%.
I
So
do want to
yeah,
actually mention, because we're done with our WWE list now, before we move on, I want to throw out a few names that I probably should have put in my honorable mentions that I just didn't, that I basically blanked on. Because of NXT, because I just don't think of NXT nearly enough when we do these because I don't watch the product. But I did watch TakeOver, and I want to shout out specifically Wes Lee, Carmelo Hayes, Indy Hartwell, and I think that'll do it. So those three, Wesley, Carmelo Hayes, and Indy Hartwell, I want to give shout outs to.
fair enough. And brother, you can keep the mic because I did initiate the WWE discussion, starting with my honorable mentions. So now we get to our favorite company,
Oh,
AEW.
yeah, man. All Elite Wrestling. What an ironic name.
Yeah,
I have three honorable mentions. I managed to juice three out of it. I managed to get three whole honorable mentions out of it, and I think
one of
that's
them
the.
juiced.
I think that's the. Yeah, literally juice. Exactly. You're right. That's my number eight, actually, Juice Robinson. But I think I actually have the most honorable mentions out of any of us because my mom just told me she has two, and I think you only have one, right?
Yeah. Do you actually no? You haven't even shared your honorable mentions just, but yes, I can confirm I only have one, and
Yeah.
I'll explain
So
all that.
my
Yeah.
honorable mentions are Juice Robinson, Athena, and Hook.
Okay. So here's the thing. Those are all valid. And there were even people in this grading period that I watched YouTube clips of that I do like. But the thing is, I hate this company so much that I'm like, I can't even really get emotionally invested. So my honorable mention, people, and I
Singular.
shared this with Ashton, and he's like, "Oh my god, dude, yes." So I'm glad that he was down. I literally wrote for my honorable mentions for this. The only honorable mention is Stokely Hathaway, who faced Hook this grading period and is better than 80% of the roster minimum. So yeah, Stokely Hathaway, because for all intents and purposes, he did wrestle this grading period, is my only honorable mention. And the dude is still one of the best things that company fucking has. I fucking love you, Stokely. So much.
Okay.
So
So
yeah.
because you said that, we're gonna have the same Fave Five, right?
You well I don't
Yeah,
know.
totally. Because otherwise, you're implying that Stokely Hathaway is better than people in my Fave Five.
I mean all right, hey, who's your number five?
AR Fox.
Nice. Nice. Good
Literally,
shit.
I don't even know if he's cut a promo in this grading period, but he's wrestled a few matches and he's fucking incredible at it. So yeah, he gets number five.
I'm happy he's getting that fucking bag, man. I say it every time. Number five for me, admittedly, MJF. I realized, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
really?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Look, honestly, I realize that if I'm still watching YouTube clips of this dude, then some part of me, even subconsciously, likes hearing this dude talk. He actually did make me pop a couple times this grading period. I'm still thinking about when he called Luchasaurus Dino douche. That was pretty great. So I still enjoy watching the dude talk. I feel like him and Brian killed it in their Iron Man match, which I think was this grading period.
Yeah, it
Um,
was. I just thought the match sucked. I hated it.
yeah, and there you go. So that's number five for me. Who's number four for you?
Number four for me is Riho, who has also wrestled multiple matches in this grading period. Is always wonderful. I will always pay attention to the AEW television when she's on it, and that's about all I can say.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like this AW is going to be quick. Four for me is Hook. Because honestly, again,
Nice.
I saw the work that he did with Stokely, and you know what I was thinking? I'm like, when are we going to get this dude more regularly on Dynamite? And when is he going to be a threat to people like Hobbs or even MJF? I mean, especially MJF being the quintessential chicken shit heel. If Hook's music hit as MJF's challenger, I'd be honestly fascinated the kind of program they could do. And that really says a lot about the talent of Hook and the allure that I think he could have on a broader level, being in a shit company like AEW. So enough said there.
Yeah.
Who's the next person on your list?
So number three for me is it's my top three are kind of the ones that I'm actually really passionate about. My top three are the ones that I actually really like that With Riho and AR Fox, it's more just like if they're on, I pay attention and I enjoy watching them. With my top three, I actively seek out their stuff and I get really excited when I find out that they're even going to be on and stuff like that. So number three for me, Destination Unknown. It's Ruby Soho.
Oh, very cool.
I'm
Very
very
cool.
frustrated that they had her turn heel, but her explanation for why she turned heel did make a lot of sense, and it made me not as angry at her or at Tony for the writing, but it made me just that much more angry at the fans, which is, again, basically a Ring of Honor fan base, because let's be real, when Ring of Honor went away and AEW popped up, all the fans just kind of migrated, and now AEW's fan base already is an ROH fan base. So when they bought Ring of Honor, it's like, oh, we don't have to do anything. We can just, stay here, and it's not nothing changes. Um, but Ruby, yeah. So yeah, they were never really behind Ruby as a babyface. So her turning heel, we know that she can be a really effective heel. We know that she's really good at it, and I am really enjoying her work, and I think that she brings some much needed levity to the former WWE women faction, because I think that Saraya and Tony are, and really specifically, it's especially Saraya, is just difficult to listen to cut a promo. I think that her promos are absolute garbage. I think she's one of the worst promos on the planet right now.
Yeah.
And Tony Storm's promos are at least like sufferable. Like
Yeah.
Soraya's are insufferable. Tony's are at least sufferable, but like they're still pretty cringe. Ruby cuts great promos consistently. She's really good at promos, and she's really good in the ring. So like she's kind of like that like another like Rhea Ripley in the sense that like she doesn't really have any weaknesses. She's great at everything. She checks every box. Obviously, she doesn't have the like insanely like domineering and magnetic look that Rhea has, but she definitely does still have a unique look and I think a good look. But really, the main thing about Ruby is just she's just very talented. She's very good at what she does. I'm rooting for her to have success. Obviously, she hasn't won any major titles in AEW yet. I'm hoping that that changes this year. We will have to just wait and see.
Excellent, man. Love that. Three for me. Konosuke Takeshita.
Ah,
Um, very, very talented in ring. I think he's got a magnetism about him that I think he really could get super over with the crowd if given the chance. You could say that though about several talents that really just aren't being used properly. And yeah, I'm just a big fan of the dude, big advocate of the dude. This is actually the dude that I slotted in this, my morning personally, because I woke up late. And I'm like, oh yeah, let me just put him in here. So yeah, I think switched him and Hook around, admittedly. And yeah, I'm like, yeah, I really, really do want to see Takeshita make it to the main event scene. And I think he will seemingly. I don't know why. Well, I mean, I know why in terms of being a fan, but I'm just surprised AEW seems to agree with me in this regard because they really do seem to be pushing him. So yeah, Takeshita there. Who's next on your list, friend?
I want to comment on Takeshita real quick and why I didn't have him on my list or in my faith or in my honorable mention or anything like that.
Sure.
Because I really do like Takeshita. I like him a lot. I think he's really good. I think the reason that I don't have him in either of my lists is because I almost feel like he's a novelty act in AEW
Interesting.
because they don't have any other Japanese performers at all, at least as far as men go. So they
Yeah.
bring in this dude who has like a pretty Americanized look with like the nice shredded body and the long pretty hair and stuff like that. And he's straight out of I think DDT, I want to say.
Yeah.
And like he's a solid worker, but I don't think he's anything special as a worker, but like a solid worker relative to Japanese pro wrestlers is enough to get you noticed in the US.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I like Takeshita, but I just feel like he's a novelty act in AEW because they don't have any other male Japanese wrestler. Like literally, if Ibushi would ever sign on the dotted line for AEW, it would make Takeshita irrelevant, in my opinion.
I could see that.
Like
I could
he
see
would
that.
be
Yeah.
completely what's the word? He would be made obsolete. That's the word.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I like Takeshita, but I don't really see him as like that dude. You know what I mean?
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. So who is your number two?
Motherfucker that is that dude, Katsuyori Shibata.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Really happy for him, man. What a story.
Dude, I am so happy to have him back at all.
Yes, 100%.
And the fact that not only is he back, but he's back working a promotion that I can kind of pay some attention to, at least out of my periphery. And he's a fucking champion there now. Like, holy shit. And he not only is he a champion there, but he's holding the championship that best fits his style.
Yeah,
I love it.
100%,
I
bro.
fucking
Yeah.
love it, man. I'm so happy to have him just back in my life in general, basically. Man, I still haven't been able to go back and watch the full match between him and Yuta, but I'd like to, and I really look forward to seeing who he gets to work with next. I think it's less about him and more about just me not giving a fuck about any BCC members anymore because they're chicken shit heels now, and I know that Yuta cheated to try and beat him and obviously failed. But yeah, I'm hoping that we at some point get Shibata versus Moriarty, and if we do, my God, my eyes will be glued.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. It's funny that this is a kind of sentimental pick for you because I know you and she about to go back a ways when we were
Yes,
really in love with New Japan and everything. You could say that this is
2015.
a sentimental pick for me.
Okay.
Number two is Adam Cole, Bay.
I love it.
Um,
Nice. I think
really great.
Cole is going to make my list in one of, if not both of, the next two Fave Fives for sure.
It's just great to have him back, man.
Yeah.
I mean, amazing look. I mean, that jawline.
Of
Uh,
course.
the promos, obviously. Him as a babyface is always going to hit different, but you know what? Even in NXT, when he had that brief babyface run feuding with McAfee, I really liked Cole as a babyface. I think the bread and butter is always going to be him as a heel. God, I love this man as a heel, but I think I can love him as a babyface too. Um, and I don't think he's going to be turning anytime soon because I think what he went through personally really affected him, and then kind of the love and support he was shown really affected him. And I think AEW is like, well, they really came out in droves for you, in support. So we're just going to kind of run with that. I think him versus MJF. I would hope that it would happen late enough that we could really consider potentially that Cole would win the title. I will say, if I'm being honest, and again, this is just my utter disdain for AEW and disinterest in AEW right now. When I see Cole doing what he does, I do still kind of wish he was doing it in a WWE environment. I really believe that this dude could have been a WrestleMania main eventer. If freaking Cody can main event a WrestleMania, no reason why an Adam Cole to me couldn't main event a WrestleMania. But yeah, he's wonderful. I hope he wins world titles again soon, whether as a heel, a babyface, whatever, because it's all good when you're Adam Cole, baby. So number two for me. Who's number one for you?
You know how they say a broken clock is right twice a day?
Yeah,
I think this applies more to AEW with this instance than any other instance that I can think of because they have stumbled onto something that is currently the best thing that they've got going for them, and I don't think they even realize it.
ooh, you've got me intrigued.
It shouldn't be that surprising. It's Jamie Hayter as the women's champion.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Jamie
Yeah.
Hayter as the women's champion is the best thing that this company's got going for it, and they don't fucking use her.
That's a shame. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, like seriously, I had her cage match pulled up the other day. It might have even been last night actually. And I was looking at her matches, her match list. Would you like to
Yeah.
know how many matches she's wrestled in this grading period specifically?
Five.
I wish.
You wish. Three.
I wish.
No fucking way.
It's 2.
Oh my. What?
Jamie Hayter has wrestled 2 matches since the beginning of February. One was an eliminator match against the Bunny, which she won in 6 minutes. And the other was her title defense at Revolution against Ruby Soho and Soraya, which only got 10 minutes.
Bro, I just need to say something. Like, clearly you're telling the truth. And clearly, like, I don't mean this in that way, but I've never wanted to push back against you harder just because I'm so astonished by what you've told me.
Dude,
Like,
people say, "Oh, well, you might want to make the argument like, oh, it only got 10 minutes, but that was because they were trying to save time for the MJF Danielson 60-minute main event, right?" It was the shortest match on the card, which means that it was shorter than Ricky Starks versus Chris Jericho. It was shorter than Wardlow versus Samoa Joe, and it was shorter than the four-way tag title match, which was the Guns defending against the Acclaimed, Lethal and Jarrett, and Danhausen and Orange Cassidy. Your women's world championship match was the shortest match on the entire show. It went 10 minutes 4 seconds. And it's that's the most recent match that Jamie Hayter has wrestled, and it was damn near a month ago at this point.
you've done the impossible. You've left me practically. I don't know what to say to that. Like, that's your women's champion.
And
It would,
arguably the best overall performer in your women's division.
like, bro, it would be inexcusable even if she didn't have the title, right? Just because of how
Because
talented
of
we
how
know
good
she
she is,
is.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah. But, like, you're the champion. I just, what? Do you have anything else you want to say, or can I just give my number one as I try and put my brain back together?
Go ahead.
Fuck. Brian Danielson.
Nice.
Look, I know. He turned heel, and it's going to be whatever. I had a whole rant about it. I mean, Ashton was there. I had a whole rant about it. But what did I say in that rant? He's going to find a way to sell me on it because he's that good at promos. This dude, let me tell you something. We talk about goats and this and that. And for a long time, when he was earning that status, I would keep him off of Fave Fives. He was so good to me in that Iron Man match, and he was so good in both the post-match promo, where it seemed like he was genuinely gonna cry, and in the stuff leading up to it. He only had one bad promo that made me cringe because he went with the lowbrow humor, like he followed MJF, and you should never follow like MJF like in that way. Even though again he does still occasionally make me pop, and it's whatever. Um, he's undeniably talented. He is without a doubt the closest thing we've had at certain points in his career to a Stone Cold of our generation. He is absolutely a Shawn Michaels of our generation with the consistency of his really great matches. And I think for some people, they would argue he far exceeds Michaels. I would probably be in that choir, quite frankly. Just name anything that you need to be a pro wrestler. This dude checks the freaking box. And that's why I was so angry, because you're wasting him by making him a chicken shit heel with a chicken shit faction. After the moment he had where he was like, oh, I thought about my kids and I had to go home, you didn't even let him be off TV enough for me to miss him, which I wanted to do, not because I'm sick of him, but because I was really fascinated with the story that could have been told. A man that's really questioning values in his life when wrestling has been the only thing he's really been tunnel vision about for just the entirety of his life since he could think for himself. But no,
AEW and pretending like they're going to tell a complex story only to be like, psych, never mind, and name a more iconic duo.
I can't right now. But you know what? AEW shit booking should not reflect on how we feel about truly. I know MJF likes to call himself this, but if anybody is a generational talent, it's fucking Brian Danielson. What this dude has done in his career is magnificent, and somehow he manages, in my mind, to get better and just to be at such a high freaking level. It's unbelievable. No wonder Tony is so desperate to hang on to him and Mox, because these guys, like, I'm sorry, they're just running freaking laps. And I only didn't have Mox because honestly, I've hated just him being heel and being chicken. Like, it just made me be like, no, like a kid that won't eat their vegetables. Is he good? Yes. But like, fuck that. And I guarantee you, I don't know if Danielson will be a part of this next grading period, depending on how they use him as a heel. You're freaking wasting this dude. And again, like I said, more than F bombs, more than anything else, I'm at my most visceral in my mind when I say to Tony, shame on you. Because that's a human being and he's given so much of his life and so many good years to pro wrestling. and he still wants to give the good years to you of all people, and this is how you treat him. Shame on you, dude. You're pathetic.
Yeah, this is where I feel really weird because I didn't include Danielson on my list at all because of the way that he was used this month, these 2 months. Like,
Yeah.
I hated the build to Revolution. I hated the match. I hated the post match promo. I hate the heel turn. I don't like anything that's going on with him. So I don't see any reason to consider him a favorite right now. I mean, obviously, as a performer, like if we were just ranking performers in a vacuum, he would probably be in my top 5 in the world.
Oh yeah, of course.
But I
Of course.
can't look at it in a vacuum.
No, that's not what this is about. And I totally get it. If it didn't do it for you, and most of the stuff in this grading period did do it for me, which is why he made my list.
Right. Because, I mean, you even had MJF in your Fave 5, so obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It scratched some itch for you.
Yeah, absolutely. But, like, yeah, dude, fuck that heel turn. Like, God, like, fuck that heel turn. Jesus Christ. Yeah, Javars, I don't even know if that's going to happen, bro. Because Tony is so fucking helicopter parent, just clinging Danielson to himself in those awkward fucking cringe ass hugs he gives the talent he's such a mark for, that he's never going to let him be able to run out into the pastures he wants to run into. The idea that WWE would have let him do it, according to all those internal reports we've seen, it like mind-boggling to me. But AEW is probably gonna be like, nah, you got to be here. You got to be here. And it's like, oh, okay. Really would have loved Danielson versus Okada, though. That would have been fun. Speaking of, well, yeah, you gave Jamie Hayter, so you already gave your number one. I gave my number one. So can I get us started on New Japan?
Indeed, you can.
Honorable mentions for me: Hiroshi Tanahashi, Zack Sabre Jr. What about you?
Wow, you only had 2?
Yeah, only 2. Like I said, a lot of conventions got thrown out the window with 5 just given where I am with pro wrestling at the moment.
Okay, no, that's fair. That's fair. I also had Zack Sabre Jr. In my honorable mentions. He was at the bottom of my list. Then Master Wato. Then Kenta. God, I miss seeing Kenta cut promos. Then Kairi. Then Kazuchika Okada.
Excellent, because number 5 for me is Okada. He's rich. You're not. Is there anything else really to say? I mean, no, it's Okada. Everything that could be said has already been said.
Pretty much.
Still waiting for that dream promo. Just saying in front of people, I really hate competing in front of poor districts. Get a better income. But I don't think he'll ever be that committed as a heel, which is a shame because I honestly think he'd be really, really, really freaking good at it. But yeah, I really want him to lose on April 8th at Sakura Genesis. Don't know if he will. He even said that it won't because it's the Okada show, more or less. Now, he might just be giving the game away, but it'll be a great match nonetheless because Okada's in it. Enough said. Who's number 5 for you?
Jeff Cobb.
Love it. What a meaty man.
I will admit that AEW had just the tiniest little bit of influence on this because he did just recently have a match with Omega that slapped. But still, a majority of his work is in New Japan. And he's just great. And I also, again, a little bit of the influence from this came from my also having recently watched Aztec Warfare 2. And him as Matanza in that just relit my fire as a fan of his. He's incredible. He is, we talk about Roman Reigns being a once-in-a-lifetime heel wrestler. I think Jeff Cobb is a once-in-a-lifetime athlete in the wrestling business. Somebody who is that powerful, who can move the way that he does, who is built the way that he is built, is you just don't find guys like that anymore. They don't grow on trees, that's for damn sure. I mean, shit. I mean, fuck, we thought Gable Steveson might be like a WWE's answer to Jeff Cobb. That dude can't move like Cobb. There's no way. If he could, he would have been on the fucking product by now, other than just like people getting in, them introducing him 18 times.
Yeah, he is fledgling right now, bro. Cobb isn't, though. What a beast. Yeah, number 4 for me, Mercedes Moné.
Okay.
I'm just going to be perfectly honest. It's so funny she made my list because in a lot of ways I don't like her. Like, I feel like her promos are still bad. I honestly am starting to question her as a person, just with some stuff in the past, because I know her and what was his was it Mizaki?
Oh wait, let me think. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Her husband, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Mikaze.
Yeah, my apologies. Mikaze, supporting Autism Speaks, which is just an awful organization for autistic people.
Her brother is autistic, and like she like touts him off like he's a fucking trophy for her to like an accessory almost, like for her to earn social justice points for having an autistic brother.
Oh God, so great. Oh God, the ableism. Oh God. Okay. So yeah, there's a lot I don't like about her as a person, to be quite honest. And that's what kind of makes me even feel disgusting having her on this list. But this is where I gear up to say, but her wrestling is so good though. I really did enjoy
It's
watching her
AJ
work.
Styles, but in a woman.
It, I know,
In a
dude,
black woman,
dude,
even. Jesus
yes,
Christ.
dude, yes. They're staring at the earth together. He's stupefied. She's talking about herself. It's great. No, her wrestling is great. I really enjoyed the match with Kyrie. I'm really stoked about the upcoming triple threat. And then I'm assuming she wins that. The match with Mayu is going to be a fucking banger, probably on everybody's match of the year contender list. I'm assuming. I'm assuming. Um, and yeah, she's great at what she does. I just wish she was better at other things. God damn it. But yeah, number 4. Who's next on your list?
Number 4 for me is Minoru Suzuki. Just Murder Grandpa. I have nothing to add. If you want to hear how much I love Suzuki, listen to literally any other Fave 5 where we were more in touch with the New Japan product and you'll hear better.
Yeah, I just want to make something clear to everyone. The reason because I'll say right now, like Suzuki isn't on here for me, Ishii is on here. I really didn't watch much from them this grading period. And again, I don't want to be disingenuous, but everything Ashton said, we love Suzuki in this house, always and forever. Um, Next on my list is Kairi.
Woo!
Love her so much. I
I
will
thought you would
say,
put her in your Stardom list. I'm surprised she's on your New Japan list.
well, because I had to make room for other people on my Stardom list. So
True. True.
yeah, you get it. You get it. To be honest, like I love Kyrie. I will always, always, always love Kyrie. She is starting to cool off for me a little bit though. I don't know if it's because like I don't
She's
like that she's
associating
teaming
so
with
much with
Nana.
Nana, eh?
Yeah. Although what she's got coming up that you told me about, I'm fucking psyched. That's why though, like her being 3 is almost perfect because she'll always have that special place in my heart, as fucking cheesy as that sounds. But like I am starting to look at other people beyond her, as we could see by like my stardom
Oh
list in the
shit.
past.
John's starting to do some shoulder surfing.
I know, and it's like Kyrie, look, it's not you, it's me. Well, it's both of us. It's both of us. But
It's
yeah,
maybe it is a
um,
little bit you.
yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously. But she's great. I'm always gonna love her. I think she's a sweetheart. It's funny. There were Coyote fans that were concerned about her working Stardom in New Japan because it's like, oh, the style, she won't last 2 years. Well, when you work limited dates and you're treated as somebody important, you can make this go as long as you want it to. She's got her own gym, Parafit 24.
Yeah.
A beautiful life that she fucking deserves because I've never seen her speak ill of anyone. Her and Asuka, I think, have that in common. They just keep their heads down. They're nice to people and they do fucking business and they do it well. I wish everybody would learn from them. God damn. And she's fantastic. I love her. I think she's great in ring, great as a promo, which I love being able to say that about foreign talents because so many people are like, oh, speak English. No, no, no. Speak passion. Speak
Yeah.
emotion. Fuck English. English is a shit language anyway. Speak emotion and passion in whatever language you need to, whether in the face, in the body, or in your own language. Subtitles are a thing for a reason, and they should be more accessible. Everyone else. So yeah, that's all I have to say about Kairi, my pirate princess forever, but not quite in the number 1 territory she used to be in. So
Number 3 for me, Hiroshi Tanahashi, the ace of the universe. I don't think I have anything else to add.
dude, you were like me with Okada. That's totally understandable.
Although I will say, I do think that he was disgustingly wasted on Daniel Garcia at Supercard of Honor. I think that he deserved so much better. Like, if you're going to bring Tanahashi over, you're going to fly this motherfucker over, give him an opponent that is worthy of his legend.
Yes, for sure. 2 for me, Jay White.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Yeah. I really enjoy his promos. I'm gonna miss those New Japan promos, man. I'm not gonna lie to you, because if he is going to WWE or even AEW, I don't really know if he can be Jay White promo wise. Because in backstage New Japan promos, he was able to drop F bombs. One of the most viral clips of his promos is him on his hands and knees screaming "fuck"
Yeah.
at the top of
True.
his lungs. Say goodbye to that. That ain't happening anymore. So I am going to miss the New Japan promos. I still think in the ring, he's so good. That's why my heart sank when you're like, oh, internally, I'm reading that WWE sees Jay as a mid-carder because I'm like, oh, hell no. Hell no. But then even if AEW would see him as a main eventer, congratulations, you're main eventing in AEW. That's kind of like when you get in one of those universities that you get fucking ads for in between the Maury show and like everything else. It's like, oh yeah, congrats. That's great for you. Um, it's like it seems really small time to me, or it feels small time, which is a shame because Jay is so good, man. I love this dude. I love his look. I think he gets it. We talked about Rhea Ripley like calling it in the ring and being like a ring general in a match with Charlotte. Jay White has that energy to me. He's so fucking snug in that ring. He knows who he is. He has such creative ways to get heat. I mean, look, here's the thing. I had MJF on my AEW list, but he was 5 on there. Jay is 2 on here. So I just want to make explicit. I think Jay is 100 times the heel that MJF wishes he was. Because I just love this dude's psychology and everything else. The match with Kingston, which was his final thing, was great. And then fucking David Finlay attacking him and trying to usurp him. Oh God, fuck all of that. Jay's fantastic. If we weren't living in a Roman Reigns era and WWE was more receptive to people like Jay in that way, he'd be such a phenomenal world champion. But I fear that the best we can hope for is maybe United States title.
Bro, to be clear, I also want to say I never said that they see him as like a permanent mid-carder. I just said that when he comes in, he's going to be immediately inserted into the mid-card.
Yeah. Still, though, man, we've seen a lot of talented mid-carders. It is a tough swim upstream. So I think Jay can make it, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, he is number 2. Who's next on your list?
Sonata.
Is that your number 2 or number 1?
That's my number 2. Sonata's my number 2.
Okay. So yeah, talk about it. If there's anything even left to say.
Well, I mean, he won the New Japan Cup. He's going to be challenging Okada in under a week now at Sakura Genesis. He's probably the most interesting story going on in New Japan right now. He joined the formerly Just 4 Guys, now Just 5 Guys faction, which also includes Taichi.
Yes.
And he has a new look. He's just kind of got a lot going for him, and I already loved him as a performer, and I'm hoping that this repackaging translates to a world title win for him.
Sonata was my number 1. So, yeah, really rooting for him to win the world title. I agree with you about the repackaging. I'm not necessarily thrilled about him leaving LIJ. I don't really see the need for that personally, but I like that he's got a new finish. I actually did see the highlights of him versus David Finlay at New Japan Cup. Very happy that he won it. And the idea that I was inquiring actively to Chiefin, who was kind of like our New Japan correspondent, because, you know, he's really plugged into the product far more than we are, about like, oh, did it happen yet? Did Sonata win? Is David Finlay going to win? And then when he told me Sonata won, I was elated. Give this man the fucking title now, please, so we can at least say that we saw him become a world champion. I'd like to say that if I feel like my love for New Japan is on the way out. And maybe if you do it, you get some of my love back. So just something to fucking think about.
Maybe.
And yeah, that's New Japan. And now we get on to fucking Stardom.
Wait, I still haven't given my number 1 New Japan yet.
You still haven't given your number 1 yet? Yeah, that's right. So who is your number 1 then?
My New Japan number 1 is Mercedes Moné.
Wow. Okay, so we both had her on our list, except you had her way higher than I did. Talk about her.
So here's my thing with Mercedes. Do I think that she is problematic? Yes. Do I think that she needs to learn a little bit more about where the fuck she's going before she goes there? Yes. Do I think that she is maybe using this run as a way to get a little bit more leverage to maybe use to leverage her way into a higher position and getting pushed like a Charlotte Flair in WWE? Maybe. I would not be surprised at all if a year from now we saw Sasha Banks back in WWE talking about how she brought women's wrestling to New Japan.
Yeah.
And do I have a lot of problems with her? Absolutely. That being said, though, she had the best women's match of this grading period that wasn't in Stardom against Kylie.
Yeah.
She is going to probably be in one of, if not 2 of, the best women's matches in the next grading period. with the Hazuki Azumi three-way, and then assuming she retains in that match, the Mayu match at All-Star Grand Queendom.
Yes.
And everything that she does, we keep a fucking finger on the pulse of it. Like, she is just like the most interesting thing going on in New Japan, and that's the thing. She is in New Japan Pro Wrestling. She has not worked a single Stardom show. She's going to work one Stardom show, and it's not even going to be on Stardom World. It's going to be a pay-per-view. So we kind of talked about this. If you are a Mercedes fan, you don't ever have to give Stardom your money. You never have to buy a Stardom World subscription, not even once, because you can have a New Japan World subscription and then you buy the Stardom pay-per-view and you're done, because that's all that she has planned so far. That's all the dates that she's agreed to with Bushi Road. So
Yeah.
to call her a Stardom wrestler is incredibly disingenuous. And that's another thing that she has done multiple times, is say that she's the CEO of New Japan and Stardom when she doesn't fucking work Stardom at all. She's going to be on one Stardom show. She's going to be like the third or fourth match from the main event. She's not going to main event that show, I don't think. I'm pretty sure that Julia Tam is main eventing All-Star Grand Queendom. And then she's probably just going to be done with New Japan and Stardom altogether, if I had to guess. I hope I'm wrong about that. I really do. I hope that she sticks around. I hope that she signs to more dates. I would fucking love it if she would sign a Bushiroad contract and actually become a member of the roster and actually work matches that would show up on Stardom World to make her fans actually fucking subscribe. But I don't expect any of that to happen.
I don't either at this point.
But
Yeah.
when she says that she is the conversation, she's not fucking lying. Because at the end of the day, from a talent perspective, we saw what she did against Kairi. She still got it. She's still incredible in between those ropes.
Yeah. 100%.
And for that reason alone, she is like the number one thing that I get the most excited to talk about when it comes to New Japan, and the most excited to look forward to when it comes to New Japan. Dude, here's the thing. Sakura Genesis, main event's obviously going to be Sanada Okada, and we would watch that match regardless. But like, Mercedes versus Hazuki versus Azumi happening on that show means that we're going to be reacting to more than just the main event on that show. If that match wasn't happening on that show, we would exclusively be reacting to the main event and skipping everything else. But because of that match, we're going to be reacting to more than just the main event.
Yeah.
So like, that's just proof of like how much of an impact Mercedes has on us, and more specifically on me. And like, so obviously the problems are there, and I think overlooking them is a fool's errand, but I also think that ignoring how incredible she is at what she does and the buzz that she has created while there would also be a fool's errand. So yeah, she's my number one because she is the best thing going on in New Japan Pro Wrestling to me right now. She had a great match. I would argue the best match that I've seen anyone have in New Japan in a while, actually, against Kairi. And then she's got two of the most anticipated matches for me coming up this month. The triple threat and then the Mayu match. So yeah, she's easy number one in New Japan for me. Mostly because she kind of is doing this weird thing where she's like a New Japan wrestler, but working with only Stardom women pretty much.
Yeah. No, I get it, man. I get it. That's why she was on my list too, albeit lower than you. But like, it's just like Mercedes, and we list all of her problems, and she's like, "Yeah, but you still love me though." And then we're just like,
Fuck.
"Yeah, yeah." Fuck. All right, now we get to start on my favorite part of every Fave Five anymore. Brother, you get to go first on honorable mentions.
I have 7 honorable mentions. So
As do I.
I will
So,
start
yeah.
from the bottom and work my way up to the top. Mariah May, Hanan, Suzuki, Maya Yukihi, Tam Nakano, Julia, Maya Iwatani.
My 7, Lady C, Hanako, Hanan, Azumi, Julia, Micah, Mariah May.
Nice.
Who's number 5 for you?
Azumi.
Amazing. So about this grading period, how'd you feel about her?
She is just straight up one of my favorite performers in the world. The press conference, I believe, to hype up the match with Mercedes probably happened in this grading period. And the way that she kind of took control of things, where she like crouched down in front of the camera and talked pretty much straight to Mercedes, called her out, challenged her. I loved that. Um, her press conference moments have been great pretty much this entire grading period. Her fucking fits on press conferences has been great this entire grading period. Um, she's had great matches. I think that she was in that huge, was it a 4-on-4, I want to say, tag match that we called like a borderline match of the year candidate if it wasn't so random. Maybe it was a three
Yeah.
on three. I think it was her. Was it her, Utami, and Kamitani? I want to say, or was
Yes.
her?
Her time.
Was it the three of them and Lady C? I don't remember.
No, it was just the three of
It
them.
was three
Yeah,
on
it was just.
three. Do you remember who it was against? Was it Oedo Tai?
No, I think it was Stars, right? It was
Was it?
Koguma, Hazuki,
And
and
Mayu.
Mayu, I want to
Yeah.
say. Or
Okay.
no, it was Koguma, Hazuki, and Hanan, dude.
Okay.
Hanan showed out in that.
That's right. Yeah. Because then at the end it came down to Hanan and Utami won it, right?
Yeah.
I thought so. Yeah, that was a great match, and obviously Azumi wasn't necessarily the star of that match, but she still had a great performance in it. She just contributes to a lot of things that I really love in Stardom, and I think I also just kind of have like this like grandfathered in appreciation for her because of how great she's always been. So she kind of gets a natural bump in my rankings from that. So yeah, she's 5 for me.
Five for me. May never happen again, but anytime it happens once, I think it's always special. Waka Tsukiyama.
Nice.
Um, Again, not really much in this grading period because she was off training. Like that was the whole story for New Blood Premium and the match with Nana and Kairi. But for one thing, I thought it was a great match. I really enjoyed it. And two, the finish and the post match. I've gone back and I've watched that 3 or 4 times, and I cry every time. This woman, again, it's going to be weird talking this much about a number five, but it's our commentary and we do what we want. For me, I touched on this before. What I love about the Waka character and what I loved about this whole story, it shows the dark side of being an underdog. And that's really fascinating to me because you've had like your James Ellsworth, your Spike Dudleys, like you've had underdogs, especially when I say underdog too, I don't even mean underdog in like a Brian Danielson, formerly Daniel Bryan sense. We're like, oh, they're really good. They're just kept down. It's no, they're good, maybe possibly, but my God, like it's impossible with them. They're never gonna do anything. And like, with Kurt Hawkins, it was kind of treated as a joke. Oh, look at this guy lose. I love that Stardom took it so seriously that it's like, no, nobody wants to feel like shit. Nobody wants to feel like they can't win. Nobody wants to feel like their inability to win or their inability to do something is alienating to other people because we know Tam put the ultimatum on her. And Waka, I think, conveyed that struggle so beautifully. I remember the press conferences where she said, it was Christmas and I was home alone in my house, watching wrestling and crying. And I'm like, oh my God, someone check on this woman. Not to mention, too, and I think we have to talk about this too, because we've gotten a bit meta before. You and I have hit on Japanese culture, Japanese work culture specifically, that it does capitalism seemingly more than the US. And then when you look at pro wrestling, we know about Joshi wrestlers that have gotten bullied. We know about Joshi wrestlers that have gotten a hard time. So when Waka said, like, oh, I was called a failure and other things, I can believe it. I can believe people in the Joshi scene taking their wrestling so seriously that it's like, oh, Waka, why don't you just give up? You're never going to be any good at this. And I can imagine the real pain that fucking causes. And the idea that this woman took all of that and told one of the best underdog stories I've seen. Look, I'll say it. I'll put my fucking cards down on the table. I think this is the best underdog story I've seen since Bryan's rise at WrestleMania 30. This was really, really good storytelling. And when you can get me to cry, which the only other time I've done that this year was Bray's return promo, which we all see how that aged. This was terrific. I'm honestly, the more days go by, and now we'll get a lot of answers this week because we're doing more of the Cinderella this week, Wednesday and Thursday. I'm really believing she could win the Cinderella. And the more I think about it, the less I hate it, to be quite honest with you, because I'm really curious what kind of story her and Kamitani could tell. Would Kamitani just look past her? Or would she take the fact that Waka's finally winning seriously? Because Kamitani's also a really great character.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not often I talk that much about a number 5, but she's never been on a Fave 5 for me before, and I felt like at times she could get there. This finally did it. When you make me feel that kind of emotion, I have to acknowledge you. So, great job, Waka. Great story. Great story. So, who's next on your list?
Number 4 on my list, Saya Kamitani, since you just brought her up as a great character actor. She has been the white belt champion this whole time. She's been the white belt champion for a year and I believe 3 months basically now. And, I will admit, I do think that she is primed to lose that belt anytime now. I'm rooting for Mina to beat her at Grand or All-Star Grand Queendom. But she's still great at what she does. She's still got pretty much this whole thing on lock. I still fully expect her, assuming she does drop the title before the 5-Star Grand Prix, to win the 5-Star Grand Prix this year. And I'm just really excited to see not only if that prediction comes true, but then if it does, if she manages to win the red belt. And who she wins the red belt from, I kind of have a gut feeling it might be Tam Nakano, but we'll see.
Yeah, next for me, it's funny how this is all working out. It's freaking Tam Nakano,
Nice.
aka Tamantha.
Nice.
Because I realized something putting this list together. I'm like, if you talk about someone a lot, you must feel something for them, whether it's hatred or love. Now, I like to have my fun on here, and I like to, turn up, oh, Tamantha's such a horrible person as a character. Cannot stress that part enough. But this woman, look, again, I'm just going to be quintessentially John, and I'm going to say it how I feel it. This woman is batshit crazy, and I love it. Like, this woman is completely untethered to any healthy reality imaginable. And, like, she has main character syndrome in the best way. Like, it's not insufferable like a Cody. It really is. Like, this woman needs to be protected from herself. And the moment somebody intrudes violently on that reality, i.e., Julia, she loses her goddamn shit. Like, this woman is making, and let me tell you something, bro. You really should thank yourself too, because when you were posting that conference stuff, both to me on Facebook and in the Discord, Julia was so close to just leapfrogging honorable mentions and being on my Fave 5 too, because these two are making magic together right now. They are making freaking art right now, and I am loving this shit. I mean, the idea that this woman in Tam does a tiger suplex, gets scissors, shoves Natsupoi away, who's just like, what the actual fuck, Tam?
Bro,
And
Natsupoi is the
does
real
it-
victim in all this.
She really is, man. She like I
She
left
got
DDM
emotionally
for this.
manipulated by Tam to join her and betray Julia, and now she's with Tam, and Tam keeps shoving her aside and like treating her as lesser.
Dude, she is not giving a shit. Like, that's kind of the fascinating thing. When they lost, love that list. Javaris, love that list. And we'll get to the rest of ours in just a few moments. But yeah, when they lost the Goddess belts to 7-Up, Natsupoi was immediately like, oh, we could challenge again, right, Tam? Tam didn't say anything. Why? Because she was too distracted about Julia winning the red belt. She has never given a shit about getting those Goddesses belts back with Natsupoi.
Nope.
All she wants to do is destroy Julia. And, like, that's amazing to me. Like, we've talked about, honestly, the more I talk about Tam, the more I'm like, should she have even been in top 3? Because she is so fascinating to me as a character. When you hate someone so much, and I've known that kind of hatred to a degree in my own life, I'm ashamed to say, but I'm not going to lie to any of you. I've known that kind of hatred in my life. But when you hate someone so much that they live in your head, not only rent free, they're running your game and theirs. They're reading both playbooks. They're Bill Belichicking that fucking shit. Like, they're fucking doing everything. Yeah, Tam is just spiraling, and it's amazing to me because it's believable. It's a believable psychosis. It's not a, eating turnbuckles or this and that or screaming when it's unnecessary, because when she did scream, I felt it. I wanted to recede into myself out of fear. I'm like, oh shit, Tamantha's unhinged. Like, oh, Julia. Like, it's like, oh my God, woman. Okay.
She's just so sick of Julia's popularity.
I will say this right now, and this might be a controversial statement because I don't even necessarily mean it to you, Ashton, or anybody in our chat. I don't think this woman gets enough respect in Joshi, to be quite honest.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's so much better than what I see her given credit for, because I'll see people talk about, and undeservedly so, but I'll see them talk about the Miyu Yamashtas, the Maki Itos, the Mayus, stuff like that. And it's like, well, what about Tam? And but Tam's asking the same thing. What about Tam? Tamantha is a godsend. Honestly, I'm so happy her and Julia are taking their program to another level. Dude, I feel like I am getting blue balled so bad because I feel like we are so close to seeing Deathmatch Tam, and Stardom's just gonna be like, no, and I'm like, but I already, fuck, I don't want to finish it alone. Give me the fucking content, but no, they're gonna blow the roof off. She's amazing. I think the perfect foil for Julia. I'm terrified of her. And yeah, just God bless Tamantha, quite honestly. May she never. I rooted for mentally healthy Momo. No, no mental health for Tam Nakano. Not when content's this freaking good. You can get it after we're all done here. In the words of Walter White, we're done when I say we're done, and I want more of this shit. So yeah, she's number 4 for me. Who's next on your list?
Number 3 on my list is Mina Shirakawa.
Oh, you said this was 3 for you, right?
Yep.
Same. We have the same
Beautiful.
number 3.
Beautiful.
You go first, my friend.
It's funny because I feel like Tam and Mina have a lot in common, and Tam was your number 4, and now Mina's your number 3. I feel like they are very similar in a lot of ways. I think Mina might have better work rate than Tam, but Tam's the better storyteller between the two.
Yes.
I think that's the biggest difference because otherwise they are very similar. I think that Mina and Tam both really do go out of their way to compensate for their lack of athletic ability by just being incredible storytellers in multiple different ways, both in the ring as well as through promos, their facial expressions, their acting, their characters, all of that. They're all about the storytelling and the emotions and making people that watch them feel something, not only just in general, but for them and for their opponents and towards everything involving them and their opponents. So I think that Mina is great at it. I think that the reason that I have her ranked and Tam in my honorable mentions is because I think that Mina with Club Venus is just really hitting different for me and really a few notches above Tam for me right now. But Tam and Julia, if they keep this shit up, my God, it is definitely going to end up ranking for me in our next Fave Five for sure.
Oh, dude. God, I have to do the voice. Club Venice. I'm having fun. I love this faction. I love Mina Shirakawa. I want her as the next Wonder of Stardom champion, and I will say it until I am blue in the goddamn face. One of the best stories in professional wrestling you're ever going to see. This woman worked her ass off for every bit of respect she's got, and she's earned all of it. She's earned all of it. I think we all, I don't want to speak for all of us, but I'm willing to bet that we're all Mina Shirakawa fans, or at the very least, if we wouldn't call ourselves fans, that would be a bit strong. We all at least respect her and her grind. And honestly, as we should. She's been fantastic this grading period. I love her as a faction leader. I love her ambition. I love that she's getting gaijin that are so good. Again, folks, Mariah May was number 1 in my honorable mention. She is so close. She is so good. Hell, I probably would have had fucking oh god, I'm already Zaya Brookside. She probably would have grown on me just being under Mina's kind of tutelage and stuff, and I probably would have seen her get better. She just decided, nah, I'm not really interested. Well, you're lost. You're lost because now we've got Xena, who I'm very fascinated by to see how she'll develop. Yeah, dude, Club Venus, amazing. They make me so fucking happy. I want Mina to get her flowers. I feel like the Wonder title is the best she's ever going to do in Stardom. Although I've said before, and I will say again, if this Mina Shirakawa walked out and got in Julia's face, I would get hyped. I'd be like, that's going to be a freaking banger.
Yes.
So yeah, rooting for her to beat Kamitani because it's time she got her flowers in full. But I love that you and I have the same energy. So who is number 2 on your list, friend?
Utami Hayashishita.
Oh God, praise our queen, please, sir.
Our Red Queen, our beautiful, royal, cool Red Queen, Utami. I really, truly am offended that she is being wasted on a fucking Fuwa-chan match at All Star Grand Queendom. I honestly shudder to think whose idea it could have been to not give her something meaningful and to waste her on a fucking TV talk show host. I see red just thinking about it, and not the good kind, not the Utami kind, the seeing red like anger kind.
Yeah, no.
I just Utami just deserves the world, and literally, if they wanted to just impromptu call a press conference and strip Julia of the red belt and put it on Utami, I wouldn't even complain. She's that good.
Yeah, no, I mean, can't. Oh my God, the way you punctuated it. Like, what can I even say? But before I get to say my piece, because you all know it's fucking coming. Come on now. Number two, Starlight Kid.
Oh, she's
I
made her
am
resurgence for you. Nice.
dude, and really, I should credit Azumi for that too, because that high speed match really did
And
90% of
that
the
did
fucking work,
happen in
bro.
this grading period, so yet another
Yeah,
contributor to Maazumi being number 5 on my list.
yeah, like, dude, that match just reminded because Azumi is brilliant, and that's the thing. I think she's kind of getting in that Brian Danielson territory for me, where it's like she's so good, I take it for granted. But that's in a way like the highest compliment I could give Azumi, because look at the flowers I just gave Danielson. When Azumi really gets pushed, I'll be growing whole gardens for her, for God's sakes. Like, Azumi's talent is undeniable. Let's not get that twisted before I go all in on Kid. So now, me going all in on Kid, I was so grateful to Azumi and Kid for making this match happen, because it reminded me how much I miss Kid as a singles competitor. She is so fucking good in there. God damn. And it says a lot about how much I love a person when I even like rein myself in, because I wanted to be pissed about her losing the Cinderella so early in the opening round. And then I'm like, you give her the new blood tag titles. And really, look, it was me being a brat and it was me being ungrateful. I will readily own that 100% on here, because the perspective I've adopted since then, if you guys have heard our more recent commentaries, is no, she's a veteran already at like the fucking tender age of like what, 21. And they're trusting her to get these tag belts over. They're trusting her to help Umasaki slash Karma develop, because they were in the Cinderella together. They eliminated each other in the opening round. So it's almost like Umasaki is kind of like Kid's pet project in a way. Really elevate this girl, work with her, tell a story with her. And the stuff with Osmi, and I'm like, oh my God, this woman at 21 is a better veteran than most people in the Western side of pro wrestling. It's insane. Like, they could be learning from her, in my mind. She's technically clean. She's a great personality. I think she's a great promo in the sense of she's got like a menacing quality to her. I don't think we've heard the best from her in promos personally. I really want her to get deeper stories, richer stories, just to really see that come out. Because I would be really excited about that. Um, yeah, I think she's absolutely brilliant. And I love the Wonder of Stardom Championship. It's kind of taken the place in my heart that the Intercontinental title of New Japan used to have. And I hope one day Starlight Kid gets a run with it, because it'll be so goddamn good. This woman's talent is undeniable. I think the world of her. I've been reminded now of how freaking good she is after being kind of in a lull with all the tag team stuff she's been doing and she's continuing to do. But don't sleep on Starlight Kid, because that's your mistake before anything else. Who's next on your list?
Number 1 on my list, as everyone
Yep.
probably already expected, is Hazuki.
Yes. Still talk about it, though. I love to hear you gush about your faves. So
I
what
feel
do we
like
got
if
here?
you literally just made a list for me based on my tone and my decibels on the entrance, Hazuki would still be number 1, because
Yeah.
every time she enters, I get so excited, and I know I get squeaky. I'm well aware of it.
It's adorable. I was even gonna try and
I
impersonate your squeak, but I can't do it justice. It's
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 I
amazing, honestly.
she's just so good and so wonderful and so adorable and so talented. And I just am so beyond stoked that she got inserted into the Azami Mercedes match. Like, I was kind of looking forward to Azami Mercedes. It was a weird case where like Mercedes named Azami specifically, and she was the only actual Stardom wrestler that she named. So I knew that match was going to happen, but I was like kind of underwhelmed by the thought of it because I'm like, okay, well, we've seen Azumi versus main eventers before, and it's rarely ever like match of the year quality. It's almost always like, okay, solid match, but then the finish feels like a high speed sequence where Azumi will do some crazy pin sequence or she'll just lose, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Hazuki getting added to that match. Not only is it just my favorite wrestler in Stardom getting added to a match that would have already been solid to begin with, but I feel like she adds a dimension that that match desperately needed because she bridges the gap between Mercedes and Azumi because we've seen Hazuki in matches with main eventers and they fucking slap every time. Hazuki versus Utami, Hazuki versus Julia, Hazuki versus Kamitani. They're all fucking excellent. So she's
yeah,
obviously going to be able to work with Mercedes really well. And she speaks the language of high speed. So you know she and Azumi are going to do some crazy, creative, cool shit as well. So to me, Hazuki is just that perfect in between to bridge the gap between Mercedes and Azumi to make that triple threat epic. And I really do hope it gets over 20 minutes. I couldn't have imagined Azumi Mercedes getting more than like 13 minutes at most, maybe 14, 15, very, very tops. I really hope that this triple threat gets over 20. I really do. Um, and Hazuki is just the perfect addition to that match, and it's perfect for me because my fave got added to a match involving obviously my New Japan fave. Basically, it's my favorite Japanese wrestler going against my favorite non-Japanese wrestler. Mercedes is has been for the better part of the last decade my favorite non-Japanese female wrestler, right? So
yeah.
you get her in a match with Hazuki. Now, honestly, here's the thing too. Would I prefer a singles match between Mercedes and Hazuki? I don't even know if I would say yes to that. I think Azumi adds a certain spice, a certain flavor to that match, and just the idea that we get to see Azumi getting featured in a big match, in a match that size with that size of an audience, it might even bring more Stardom fan, or might even bring more fans to Stardom because of how unique of a talent Azumi is. Because she's this 20-year-old prodigy that's been wrestling for almost a decade at this point already, that moves like hardly anyone else in wrestling, and that has this crazy move set. We're probably going to see an Arachnorana. We're probably going to see a Frankendriver. She does crazy shit that most people either A, haven't seen at all, or B, haven't seen done by a woman.
Yeah.
So I think that Azumi does definitely add an element to it. I just love the dynamic between those three. Obviously, Hazuki is my absolute favorite female wrestler in Stardom specifically, but we'll find out who ranks above whom in my universal top 10 later. But I just am so excited for that match. And it's this coming weekend. We're so close already. That match is coming up very soon.
Yeah, it
And
is.
Hazuki in general is just wonderful. She's has was the I think the Hazuki Kamitani match actually was in this grading period too.
I believe it was. Yeah.
So that's like, I mean, come on, right? Like Kamitani and Hazuki had a great match. Would it have been better if Hazuki won? Yeah, probably in my opinion. But then maybe we wouldn't have gotten this match, and I think maybe that might not have been worth it, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. Number one for me, now taking the baton of the obvious,
Yes,
Utami
Otami.
Hayashishita. Um, you spoke so beautifully of her. I almost don't even want to try, but I'm going to. Um, she's amazing. She's absolutely astounding to me. Between her look, which I'm just in awe of every time, uh, her face is just so radiant, goddamn, and so full of intensity and just purpose and desire. She's an amazing power wrestler because it's one of those rare things where like she's a power wrestler, and it's so funny because she said in that interview as red belt champion, which again, you know that I'm somebody who's my favorite if I'm doing like extracurricular stuff, like with them in mind. Because normally, if we're again, I've said this many times before, I'm not saying anything new. When we're not doing TwitWoW, I'm doing philosophy or I'm doing some other stuff. Wrestling isn't as big a part of my life in that way than it used to be. So the idea that I would take time out of my day that isn't even like TwitWoW, whatever, and read an interview from her just shows the regard I hold her in. And she said, like, oh, I'm actually jealous of Julia because she's so much better at expressing her emotions. And yet I feel like Utami's emotions really are conveyed in her offense. She's not like this stoic power wrestler that, oh, look, she's a monster. No, it's a power wrestler, but you can see the effort exerted in using all of that power and why she feels she has to use it and why she wants to use it to be the best. I think we got a big glimpse into Utami's psyche. I think this was beyond the grading period, admittedly, but it's still something I like to recall when she said, the red belt isn't interesting unless I hold it. I love that
Dude,
because
yeah, that was. I mean, you're right that it's not part of that. I think that was all the way back in like maybe even fall of 2022. But you're right that
yeah,
that was a great quote.
yeah, like I love that because that's also the same Utami though. That, and again, this is beyond the grading period, but still just building her up as a character. When she beat Shuri in the 5-star, I swear I saw her hand shaking as she's cutting that promo because I think on some level she internalized doubt of, can I do this? And the moment she beat Shuri, because keep in mind the quote came after that,
Yeah.
so I feel like beating Shuri gave her her confidence back
Oh
and
yeah, it might
confident.
have even been in August that quote came out because I think it was right around the time that she beat Shuri in the 5-star, but it was before Nana A got announced as the challenger for the big August pay-per-view.
Well, whenever Shuri beat Utami to retain the title, like that's when that quote, because it was only like a day or two after that she put out that
Okay, then
tweet.
it was in the fall. It was in the fall then.
Yeah. Um, but like, yeah, all of this to say, confident Utami, I'm just gonna say it the way that my brain's thinking of it. Confident Utami is hot as hell. I love when this woman is on her shit and she knows how good she is. Do you know why I'm so looking forward to a Julia Utami match? Because I thought a lot about this the past couple days. I'm like, well, John, they're both great wrestlers, but is there any other reason why? Because Yukihi's got the story, Suzu's got the story, Tam sure as shit has got the story. But I love that Utami doesn't hate Julia. I love that Utami, in a way, actually is jealous of Julia, but in like a very affirmative way, like an admiring way. Like, you're really good at this thing. I wish I was good at that. But why I love the idea of Utami versus Julia, she doesn't give a shit about Julia. Not in that way. Everybody else, it's about Julia. For Utami, it's about the title. And I think that, in a way, makes her more dangerous because she knows what the assignment is. Everybody else wants to send a message to Julia. Tommy doesn't care. She just wants to be the champion. That's it. And like for that reason, maybe Julia should be more afraid of Utami because it's like, oh my God, this woman isn't invested in me. She's invested in everything I have. She's invested in this championship. She wants to take this from me, and she's capable of doing it. That's why I want the match so bad. Because all these people, Tam, like, oh, Julia, people are still talking about you instead of me. Suzuki, it's like, oh, you betrayed me. And Yukihi, to her credit, she wasn't even bringing the smoke. That was Julia, her own insecurities. But for Utami, it's like, nah, man, I just want to wrestle. I just want to forearm you in the goddamn face. I want to slam you into that canvas for 3 seconds and be champion again because Queen's Quest isn't Queen's Quest unless we have that world title. I'll tell you, when she said that red belt isn't interesting unless I hold it, that was the most EO she ever sounded like. I'm like, that's why she's the leader of Queen's Quest. Because here's the thing, too. Kamitani, for as much as people love Kamitani, I do too. You know why she isn't the leader? Because she's too self-absorbed. I am Stardom. I am the future. And again, the way she acted with Ami Sourei, big leaguing her. Azumi, I feel like Azumi could be, but I feel like, she's still kind of personally attached, and doing like the high speed stuff and wanting to be cool and like wanting all this stuff. Utami, she's like, no, I just want to be the best wrestler I can be. And I want to be the world champion. She is dialed the fuck in. And I really can't wait. I hope in Julia's title reign, Utami climbs in that ring with her because she don't give a fuck about you, girl. She just wants to wrestle. Can you handle that? Can you handle somebody that actually just wants to fight you for 30 or however many minutes? I'd love to find out. I'd really, really love to find out. She's one of the best going in Stardom. I think she's one of the best going in the world. She's still in her fucking 20s, and she's this goddamn good. MJF, take note. Austin Theory, who likes to tell being a prodigy, take note. A lot of women's wrestlers, take note. This woman can do everything. Sell, she bumps her fucking ass off. Her moves look freaking great. She's got a magnetic personality. She talks her shit, but she's not overbearing about it. Perfect. She's perfect.
Can I
I
also
adore
just
her.
say, since you mentioned her being quote unquote still in her 20s, and then brought
Yeah.
up MJF and Austin Theory, she's younger than both of them.
Yeah. Yeah. With 100 times the talent. And yeah, I said that number and I'm sticking with it. one of the best wrestlers going today. And to be honest, if she hasn't achieved legend status by the time her career is done, somebody did something wrong. And spoiler alert, it wasn't fucking her. So figure it the fuck out. The idea that she's doing this random ass tag match on a card this big is an insult to her, and it's an insult to all of us that support her.
Mm-hmm.
Because that show is still going to be pay per view of the year. I've seen the card. It is,
Mm-hmm.
to say it's amazeballs is nuts. Utami should get to be a part of that, though. She should absolutely get to be a part of that. And you throw away on some random tag match after everything after all the times you gave her the ball and she scored a touchdown. Okay. Okay. Because you know what? Let me tell you something. The next time she gets in that main event scene, if it's with Julia, it's going to blow the fucking roof off and she's going to remind you all why she should keep being given the goddamn ball. That's it. I don't really know what else to say without getting repetitive. Utami rules all. My Red Queen forever. I fucks with Queen's Quest till I die, especially as long as she's a part of it. And yeah, I'm sorry, everybody else. You don't like Utami. That sounds like a you problem. That's really where I'm at with her. I just think she's undeniable. She's that undeniable. So, with that said, we get to our other list. I think I go first with honorable mention since you went first on Stardom.
Mm-hmm.
So my only honorable mention is Miyu Yamashita. Who do you got for other?
Dude, it's so funny that Miyu Yamashita is your only honorable mention, making her effectively your number 6, because she's effectively my number 6 as well. But I do have 5 honorable
Yes.
mentions for my other section. So let me start at 10 and work my way up to Miyu Yamashita at 6. Number 10, Yuki Kamifuku, aka Kamiyu. Number 9, Billy Starks. Number 8, Wasteland War Party. Number 7, May Saint Michel. And number 6, Miyu Yamashita.
Beautiful. Number 5 for me, just to get this ball rolling, Maki Ito. Just she's still amazing. She's still got it. I've seen some promos of her in this grading period. She still makes me laugh. She still makes me pop. I think she's still great in ring. I think she could still have an amazing story for the world title and be a very fascinating world champion. She hasn't lost that edge in that regard. And yeah, I just look forward to seeing what's next for her, especially because her and Yamashita lost the tag titles so quickly. But I was very happy to see them win them in the first place. Grand Princess 23 was a pretty solid show.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Maki Ito rings in my fave 5 at number 5. What about you?
Number 5 for me is Saki-sama.
Okay.
I love
Yeah.
Saki Akai, but Saki-sama just hits so different, man. She, with her fucking all black gear and the elegance and the attitude, man, it just the whole package, and even just the faction, I think, even just the faction, I think, adds to it as well, man. It's great stuff.
Number 4 for me was Saki-sama.
Beautiful.
I think copy paste everything you said. I love the aesthetic. I love how she works. I want this woman as world champion personally. Her and May Saint Michel had me dying, dude. Especially May Saint Michel. I can't stress to you guys enough how close she was to just making any part of the list. But I'm like, no, I don't know. It was missing a little something. I want to see more of her, but God, in that one match, I thought she was adorable, cute as shit. And Saki Sama, yeah, as world champion, I'd rock with it 100%. So yeah, who's number 4 for you then?
Number 4 for me is Mizuki.
Excellent. Our new world champion.
Our new Princess champion over in TJPW. Put on an excellent match with Yuka Sakazaki in the main event of Grand Princess 23. And yeah, she also has just recently had pictures come out with her posing with that title while she's next to Mercedes posing with her IWGP Women's Championship. I thought those were really cool, really sweet. And yeah, Mizuki is an excellent talent, excellent worker, and just an adorable girl in general. So yeah, big fan, and she made my number 4.
Absolutely. 3 for me, Kamiyu. I feel like TJPW doesn't know what they have in her.
They don't.
I think she is an incredible talent.
Yeah.
I'd honestly love to see her get a run in Stardom. I'd be really curious what she would do in Stardom, even if the most she could hope for would be maybe having a partner and going after the Goddess's belts, or 2 partners and going after the Artist belts. I still feel like she'd be more compelling in Stardom than where she is now, but every time I see her, I just fall in love with her all over again. So that's number 3 for me. Who's next on your list?
Number 3 for me is Maki Ito. You kind of already touched on it. I just love her promos. She's really fucking good in the ring. I think we've reached the point that if anyone ever tries to tell you that Maki Ito is getting better in the ring or isn't already excellent in the ring, it just proves that either they're ignorant or they just haven't watched her in like 4 years or more. Because she isn't just getting better in the ring. She isn't just, solid in the ring. She's fucking great in the ring. She's an amazing wrestler. She's an amazing personality. She's got an amazing gimmick. She's a great promo. She checks every box. She's just great at this. And frankly, I'm still a little upset that she and me lost the titles to the Magical Sugar Rabbits already, the tag titles.
Same, friend. Same. Um, Next for me, number 2 on my list, Yuka Sakazaki.
I knew that was
I
going to be on
really
there too.
hope that her and Mizuki winning the tag titles is just a precursor to her going full heel and beating the hell out of Mizuki. I think that'd be a fascinating story for TJPW, and Sakazaki can more than bear the weight. She is menacing as fuck in that ring when she wants to be on her super serious like ace energy or whatever.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Incredible talent. Incredible talent. Again, much like Tam, sometimes I wonder if people even know how good she is. Although I do think more people get it with her than with Tam, to be fair. It's just, yeah, she's wonderful. Who's next on your list?
I'm assuming number 2 on my list is number 1 on your list, and that's Miyu Watanabe.
That is correct.
I figured. So yeah, Miyu Watanabe is awesome. I love her storytelling. I love her in-ring psychology. I love how incredibly strong she is, given how adorable and cute and borderline petite she looks. But I don't want to drone on for too long because she's your number 1, so I want you to have the floor here.
Yeah, I mean, guys, what a fantastic wrestler. Like Ashton said, adorable as hell, but also has incredible power. Somebody was at a show recently. It was when TJPW were in America or in LA. And yeah, it's a clip of her swinging 2 women at once. And the person said, "Got the only clip that matters this weekend." And I said, I quote tweeted that, and I said, "There's everyone else, and then there's Miyu Watanabe. Holy shit." Miyu actually liked the tweet. And not only that, my sister, who is, I wouldn't even say she's a fan of her. I wouldn't even say a casual fan, but she has a very casual relationship, doesn't mind when I talk to her about it, any of that stuff. She saw the tweet, and even she had to comment, "Wow, that's incredible," muscle emoji. Like, that's the kind of appeal Miyu has because she does things in wrestling that people don't often see. And I think that does attract casual fans. And yeah, I think when we're talking about future world champions in TJPW, Miyu's on the freaking short list to me. I'm really, really upset that she lost a title already. Because I was really the International Princess Championship, that is, because I was really looking forward to seeing that run grow and develop. Really hoping she wins the Princess Cup this year. We will have to wait and see. But yeah, Miyu is a very easy number 1 for me. Who is number 1 for you?
That would be Yuka Sakazaki.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it worked out really well. Our number 1 and 2 are the same people. They're just in different orders.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Incredible.
Yuka's number 1 for me. I actually have her at number 1 both because of her excellent performances in TJPW as well as her great performance at Ring of Honor Super Card of Honor. Just this past Friday, she challenged Athena in a losing effort for the Ring of Honor Women's Championship. She looked great there. She looked great at the Grand Princess show. She's just an amazing wrestler. She's an amazing talent. I think she, like, we can talk about Miyu Yamashita being the quote unquote ace of TJPW, but at the end of the day, I really do genuinely think that Yuka Sakazaki is the best all around talent in that promotion. I think she's the number 1 as far as just overall talent goes. I think she's at the top of that list for them.
I'll be honest. I think Yuka has stronger ace energy than Miyu does personally, and I love
That's
Miyu
fair. I
Yamashita. But
think
yeah,
honestly with the character shift over the last year, especially, I think that really has almost solidified her as more of the ace than Miyu because Yuka heard Natsupoi talking shit and was like, "Oh, bet, fuck you."
yeah. And that was a hard fuck you to everyone else too, because they had to experience it. At least Natsupoi didn't have to pay the fucking bill.
Yeah.
Um, So yeah, that rounds it out. So now it's Universal Top 10. I will go first.
Oh,
No, did you have any more you wanted to say?
well, no, I just figured didn't you go first for other and
Oh,
then
yeah, I guess you're right. So I guess you could start Universal Top 10. I apologize. I'm an eager beaver over here.
yeah,
So
sneaking across the border of my master list is Roman Reigns at number 10. Ooh.
Number 10 for me, Waka Tsukiyama.
Oh, wow. Wow. Talk about a fucking contrast. Roman Reigns, the God King of the world, the undisputed Universal Heavyweight Champion of WWE, and then Waka Tsukiyama, who just got the first win of her career recently.
Hey, man, she's going to pin Roman Reigns next. She's starting to be on a
Yeah.
little bit of a streak.
Number 9 for me, Mina Shirakawa.
Number 9 for me, Kairi.
Nice. I love it. Number 8 for me, Rhea Ripley.
I have the same number 8, Rhea Ripley.
Dude, we had her at the same ranking in our WWE list, and she's at the same ranking in our master list. Same brain. I love it. Number 7 for me, Katsuyori Shibata.
Number 7 for me, Tam Nakano.
Love it. Number 6 for me, Yuka Sakazaki.
Number 6 for me, Miyu Watanabe.
Oh my god, we even had our number 1s from our other lists, both at number 6. That's crazy. Number 5 for me, Mercedes Moné.
Number 5 for me, Kevin Owens.
Oh, wow. I thought he'd be higher for you for sure. Number 4 for me, Utami Hayashishita.
Number 4 for me, the highest ranked male, Bryan Danielson.
Wow. Okay. Number 3 for me, Jamie Hayter.
Number 3 for me, Mina Shirakawa.
Love it. Beautiful. Number 2 for me, my highest ranked male, Sami Zayn.
Number 2 for me, Starlight Kid.
And of course, number 1 for me, as everyone probably already knew, Hazuki.
Number 1 for me, as everyone should also probably know, Utami Hayashishita.
Beautiful. I love it. I love everything about it. It's glorious.
Amazing. So with that said, guys, I want to thank you all for joining us. Be sure to leave a like as you file out. Subscribe with the bell icon for notifications so you don't miss any of that TWitWoW goodness. Check out everything we're involved in the description box. Follow us on Twitter and Twitch because we are the best wrestling podcast in all the IWC. And now we are in the beginnings of April. So we have nothing tomorrow, nothing Tuesday. Wednesday at 5 p.m., Cinderella Tournament second round live reactions. Again, that's 5 p.m. Thursday, 6 p.m., Stardom Cinderella Tournament third round quarterfinals, live reactions. Nothing Friday, except, Discord time. So if you're with the Discord, that's $3 a month. Be sure to check the Patreon below and get in there because we'll be doing games and chill from 8 to probably 10 or 11. Next commentary would be Saturday, April 8th. TWitWoW Week in Review. Also, Ashton, you know what? We should probably talk about that though, right? Because the 8th is going to be Sakura Genesis. So what time should we do that? Because I know we'll be getting New Japan's World subscriptions and stuff. Do we just do that at like 4 or 5? What time do you want to do that?
I have it on the schedule right now as us going live on Saturday at 8 p.m.
8 p.m. Okay, so then TWitWoW Week in Review would be at 4 then, right?
No, I have us doing TWitWoW Week in Review at 10.
Oh, right, because we're only doing the 2 matches, so it shouldn't take that long. Okay, yeah. I
figured the combination of the triple threat and Sonata Okada would probably not go over like an hour and a half tops.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair, honestly. Yeah.
Because here's the thing, too, dude. We're gonna have to skip from the end of the triple threat match to the beginning of Okada Sonata because there are matches in between there. Believe it or not, the IWGP Women's Championship is not the semi-main event of that show.
Right. So yeah, I just had a brain fart for whatever reason. I'm like, oh, we're doing all of them, but no, we're only doing the 2 matches. So yeah, that makes sense. 8 p.m. Sakura Genesis 2 match live reactions, the IWGP Women's Triple Threat, and then Sonata Okada.
Yep.
And then 10 TWitWoW Week in Review. So that's just the beginning of April, and the rest of the schedule, that's Ashton's pinned tweet, which you guys can see following him on Twitter. So with that said, guys, we'll see you Wednesday at 5 for more Cinderella Tournament coverage. See all of our Discord patrons tonight for Games and Chill in just a little over an hour. Until then, be good to yourselves and each other. Tune in and peace out.